Why were you so connected to your brother, and how did that play a role in how you saw things like mental disabilities like for the rest of your life and even now as an adult?
My brother was just a big part of my life, man. I think his disability in a lot of ways, I'm not gonna say it's defined me, but it's opened up my view of just the world. You know, I think a lot of times we're just so enamored and so caught up with ourselves, we forget to be appreciative of the things we have and what's around you, you know. So last night, for example, I slept in the bed, you know, in the climate-controlled room and had a meal, and I don't have the same clothes on that I had on yesterday. You know, those little things that you're appreciative of, and what Russ kind of taught me, you know, I mean, it's a variety of things, but primarily, like, I just graduated from law school. You know, I wrote a book. Like the ability to have the faculties to sit down and put my finger to a keyboard and put A, and know, and my brain is saying, hey, I want to press A here, and it happens. Like, so many people out here don't have that ability, you know, and it seems so simplistic and so minute to us, but, you know, it's a lot of people walking out here that can't do that. And so, you know, a big part of my appreciation just in life and things like that has come from him and seeing not only his disability, but interacting with other families and other people with disabilities. It definitely makes you more appreciative, you know, of just everything you have in life and how fast it can be snatched away from you, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, so you discussed how your brother had a mental disability, but you also talk about how you yourself kind of was dealing with some mental issues, not necessarily disabilities. And I don't want to call them illnesses. Maybe we would just call them valleys.
Right.
And I was kind of curious because it just sometimes when you look at different families and different cultures, you notice that different cultures approach mental illnesses or mental valleys a lot differently. And it seems like a lot of the times in this book you're mentioning how you really were trying to reach out and you really wanted someone to see you. What encouragement would you give for somebody who's probably dealing with the same thing to that 13, 14, to that 25, 26-year-old who is dealing with those same kind of thoughts, but because of, you know, maybe the people around them not necessarily being trained on how to get help, or that, oh, this is serious, this is something that needs to be addressed. How would you encourage them to kind of go and get help or let people really know what's going on?
Yeah, the first thing I would do is say get help. Go see a psychologist, you know, go see whoever you need to see. And I think, you know, there seems to be like a negative kind of view of mental conditions or going to talk to somebody, you know, so much to the point that some people call them shrinks or whatever. But, you know, I wholeheartedly disagree with that. You know, if you're going through something difficult and you have those kind of thoughts to where you no longer feel like life is worth living, or you want to give up on life, or you want to take yourself out of life, go get help and don't be ashamed by that. You know, there's no negative connotation to that. You know, the same way if you break your leg, they take you to a doctor and somebody fixes your leg. Like, there's something going on in your brain. It's a part of your body, and you shouldn't feel ashamed to go get help. So that's number one. Go see somebody. Go see somebody that's impartial, that's unbiased, that's trained in these areas that can help you kind of get through that valley. And number two, I would say, just kind of from speaking from my man J. Cole, just kind of love yours. You know, I think we have this just innate desire to want to just covet what other people have, and you know, different aspects of life that other people are living. It's why I don't have Instagram. It's why I stay away from Facebook. Instagram to me, man, is just like, hey, who can make their life seem like it's more better than the other person, you know? And I'm not saying, you know, everybody uses Instagram, you know, to right, because, you know, a lot of people, you know, use it for good reasons, but, you know, I'll just speak to my experiences. I know people, you know, and I know that, you know, a lot of the struggles they're going through and how they mask them, you know, through filters or through pictures, you know, and you know, they might say they're on vacation, but, you know, they're down there with their family because their parents are trying to restore their marriage, you know, something like that. And I'm not saying people should go out here and broadcast their most painful aspects of life. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is be authentic, you know. So if you're going through things like that, if you're having your valleys and you're feeling like you're depressed, you gotta love yours, man. Love yourself, love your life. Nobody's life is better than the one that you have. And if it's not, if you don't feel like that's the case, do whatever it is you have to do to improve your circumstances, to improve your life. And I think that's tough for us, you know, predominantly for the Black community, because a lot of times we look at like mental illness or mental conditions, and it's like it's a devil, you know, it's Satan, you know, somebody trying to come steal your joy, you know, whatever that means. And I'm not saying, you know, that I'm not saying Satan doesn't come and tempt us, you know, I'm not saying that some of my lower points in life aren't, you know, you know, trying to stop me from doing God's will. But what I am saying is that there's a practical aspect to this as well, you know, and so while it is important to pray while you go see your psychologist, you know, while it is important to pray, if you've been prescribed medication, take your medication the same way you pray in the morning and at night, you know. Be spiritual and be practical about both those things, you know. So.
And what about for loved ones who have maybe children or have, you know, other people? Because we see a lot of things in the news about someone just clicked or someone just snapped and then they go to this place and they shoot up this place, or they go to this place and they're, you know, they're threatening people, and people are saying, well, we kind of thought we saw something, but we didn't know. You know, so for somebody that may not be aware of things like warning signals. I mean, you gave a lot of warning signals, and based on reading it. But you know, to that mama that sees that her son is doing the most, she might not see it the same way that a reader would see it. But what are some of the warning signs that people can look for to know? Okay, maybe we should have a legitimate conversation about this.
Really, you got to be vigilant. But as far as warning signs are concerned, I mean, if constant loneliness, the constant desire to want to be alone, to not want to interact with anybody. I'm an introvert at heart, but even now, you know, everybody needs that human interaction every now and then. So if you always want to be alone, you know, if you're always sleeping too much and not sleeping at all, you know, if your child is constantly staring out of windows, you know, or different things like that, then it might be time for you to, you know, have one of those difficult conversations. But another aspect of that is just being relational. You know, you got to have those conversations, and you know, and you can't expect for that conversation to come about off one question, right?
Exactly.
Like, you can't expect you're gonna sit your child down or sit your friend down and you're gonna say, hey, what's wrong? And they're just gonna say it. And they're just gonna blurt it out and just tell you how they feeling. Like, you know, they might say nothing's wrong. Well, keep pressing. You know, that's what friendship is about. That's what love is about. Like, you don't give up on people just because, oh, you know, you don't want to talk to me, I'm not gonna force it. No, I mean, that's not what friendship is. That's not what love is. That's not what family is. You know, it's that constant persistence. Like, I know you're not okay, and I want to make sure you are. So.